Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at solving equations, solving for x, given an equation, a linear equation that has one variable, solving for that variable to determine what is the value that makes those equations true, right? And then checking your solution to see if you did get the right answer. So this is from CPM, and this is course 3, and this is section 4.1.4. number 4-39. So it says for each equation below, solve for x, check your solution if possible, and show all work. So remember, solving an equation is simply just figuring out what number can I put in that x there, and that x there that would make this equation true. That would give me the same number on this side and the same number on this side when I do the math. That's solving an equation. That's all it is. It's just figuring out what number it is. I mean, I could do a guess and check, plug in a 1 and just see if it works, if I get the same thing on both sides, or plug in a 0, see if I get the same thing on both sides, right? So there is a process, though, that we use because sometimes guess and check doesn't always pan out to be the most efficient, right? So our process is there's 3 steps, right? Our first step is to simplify. That means combine like terms, distribute, whatever's necessary. Get it to be simplified on each side. You're simplifying each side. Simplify each side. The second step is isolate the variable term. In this case, I'll call it the x term, right? So isolate the x term. Make sure that the term that has the x is all by itself on one side. And that means on the other side is just numbers, right? And then the third step is to divide by the coefficient. The x term normally has a coefficient, right? If we forget what coefficient is the number being multiplied. So right now, this 3x, the number 3 is the coefficient, right? This negative 2x, the coefficient is negative 2. 5x, the coefficient is 5. That's what a coefficient is. So let's start with simplify. So simplify, right? That's our first term. So simplify, we're going to see if there's any combining like terms. 3x, that's the only x term, so I'm just going to write 3x. But here I have don't forget the signs in front, a negative 6 and a positive 1. Negative 6 and positive 1 combine to be negative 5, so I'll put minus 5. That's this side. And on this side now, what can I combine? I've got a negative 2x and a positive 5x. Those two can combine. Negative 2, positive 5, give me positive 3, so it's a 3x, and I still have this minus 5. So now this is interesting. Here I am. I could continue on and isolate the x term, which means get all the x's on this side. But what do I notice? If I did my math right, I'm noticing that I have the exact same expression on both sides. Because remember, what are we saying? We're looking for a number, and I want the same number that fits in those x's that make this true. Well, I could put any number in here, and it'll be true. I put a 0 in, you get negative 5 on both sides. I put a 5 in, I get 10 on both sides. So no matter what number I choose, I would have a true statement. So that being said, my answer is x is all numbers, right? All real numbers. So that's my answer there. X is all real numbers because I have exactly the same thing on both sides. So B, let's look at B. So same steps, right? Simplify, isolate, divide by coefficient. So I always put my marker down my equal sign because I want to show that this is two sides of the equation is always split by the equal sign. So on this side, negative 2x minus 5, there's no simplifying. It is negative 2x minus 5. It's already, there's no combining like terms. Over here now, we do have some combining like terms. In fact, before I do that, I have some distributive property because I have this set of parentheses here with a minus in front. So I'm going to rewrite this without those parentheses by using the distributive property. I distribute that minus. So minus x, then though, minus minus 1. What happens when you minus minus? Minus minus becomes plus. They cancel each other out. It's the opposite of a minus. It's a negative negative. It's your double negative, which becomes a plus. So now I still got to combine like terms though. Here I have a negative 4x and a negative 1x, right? Remember when there's just a x without a number in front, it's always a 1 that's written there that's not written there. You don't need to have it, but we need to know it means 1x. So negative 4 and negative 1 means negative 5x. So I combine those. And now I combine my numbers. 2, positive 2, and positive 1 makes it positive 3. So here I've got negative 2x minus 5 is equal to negative 5x plus 3. Now, on to my second step, which is isolate the x term. So that means get all the x's, get the x's on one side and the numbers on the other side. So in order to get them on one side, I have to get rid of them from, I want my x to end up over here is what I want. I want my x to end up on that side of the equation. So I'm going to get rid of it from over here. It's a minus or negative 5x, so I have to do the opposite, which is positive 5x, right? Add 5x. A negative and positive, those are opposites. They cancel each other out. Gone. So what I do to one side of the equation, remember, you always do to the other. So over here, now I'm going to add 5x as well. So now I have a negative 2x and a positive 5x gives me positive 3x. So now I have 3x minus 5 is equal to 3. Well, that's all that's left on this side is just the 3. So I still got to get my x a term by itself. I have a 3x as my term. I need to get it alone. So that means get rid of the numbers on this side. So it's plus 5 because it's the opposite of minus 5. Minus 5 plus 5, cancel. Plus 5 over here. So now I have, what do I have left? I have 3x. I'm going to use this line. 3x is equal to 3 and 5 is 8. Okay. So last thing is to divide by 3. So divide by 3. Why divide by 3? Because that's the coefficient. That's my next step. Divide by the coefficient. So I'm out of room. I'm going to bring it up here. Why did I do that? Because that gives me, that goes away. The 3 divided by 3 is just 1. It's my 1x that I want. And on this side, it's 8 divided by 3, which 8 doesn't divide by 3 evenly. So I'm going to leave my answer as a fraction to make sense. Maybe I'll make it into a mixed number. 3 goes into 8. Oops, not 3 times, twice, with a remainder of 2. So you could say 8 and 2/3 would be an answer. Or you can just leave it 8 over 3. That's fine too. Or if you change it to a decimal, you'll end up with a repeating decimal, but a fraction answer would be fine. So there we go.